Hola, buenas tardes a todos. Good afternoon. My name is Abelardo de la Peña Jr., Director of Marketing and Communications with La Plaza de Cultura y Artes, welcoming you to En Casa con la Plaza Cocina. Every Monday, of course, we have our cooking demonstrations from some of the greatest chefs, bakers, restaurateurs, mixologists from not only Southern California, across the United States and into Mexico. We bring you these programs, En Casa con la Plaza, 3 times a week. We've been doing it for a year now. And thank you so much for joining us. Let us know where you're viewing from. If you're on Zoom, use the chat feature, use the Q&A, ask questions, make comments. Those of you that have joined us on Zoom, welcome to you as well. Use the comment section. Let us know where you're viewing from, and also ask questions, make comments. We'd love to know who you are out there. Our sponsors today, PepsiCo and Kaiser Permanente. And to lead us in today's En Casa con la Plaza, let me bring up to the screen Jimena Martin, our Director of Programming and Culinary Arts. Join us, please, Jimena.
Buenas tardes, good afternoon. Hi, everyone. Start something sweet to start off today with Monday. Today we have a special guest all the way from Mexico City. He's been with us before. So happy to bring back Eliceo Lara. Eliceo, a baker born in Mexico City for the last 5 years. He has been teaching how to make Mexican bread and pastries to locals and to travelers, mostly through the in-person Airbnb experiences. And also with his Zoom online classes. His specialty is pan dulce y tres leches cake. He has hosted over 2,000 guests in his kitchen in Mexico City, but also in the US, Canada, Spain, Portugal, and France. But now we have him here in Los Angeles. Hi, Eliceo, how are you?
Hola, Jimena. Very good, thank you. And you?
I'm good, thank you. So today we are going to be having some Garibaldis, sweetbreads, and then I just learned a new word that you talked to me earlier, grajeas.
Grajeas, yes.
Grajeas.
That's correct.
Tell us a bit more all about that.
So think of this as an unfrosted cupcake. So the base is kind of like a little cake. But then we're gonna cover it with jam, and then we put on top the grajeas, which are sprinkles. Some people call them also chochitos. You can find them as grajeas or chochitos. They're usually covered in the white colored grajeas.
Real quick, can you unmute the one or the other? Because right now all we're seeing is your mise en place. So we can see you speak.
There we go. Is that better?
Yes, thank you.
Okay, perfect. Yes, so this pastry, ordinary, it's half Italian, hence the name. Because apparently Garibaldi is a very popular last name in Italy. So apparently somehow this is a half Italian, half Mexican pastry. You can find it, I think, almost everywhere in every bakery. I found this everywhere from Baja California all the way to Yucatan. So it's a very, very popular little bread here in Mexico.
Great. So show us how to make these Garibaldis, please.
Of course. So now I'm gonna take you to my counter. Okay, there we go. So now you can see my ingredients, right?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. So I'm gonna give you first the ingredients that we are going to be using today. We're gonna need some butter, that's 100 grams, or 1 stick minus 1 tablespoon butter. Then we're gonna need some sugar, that's gonna be 130 grams, or 2/3 of a cup granulated sugar. Then we're gonna need 2 eggs and 1 yolk. We're gonna need this to be at room temperature, please. That's very, very important. Otherwise, the emulsion won't happen properly. After that, we're gonna need 150 grams or 2/3 of a cup milk. milk should be at room temperature as well, and that is preferably whole milk. Then we're gonna need 7 grams or 2 teaspoons of vanilla extract. Of course, you can use different extracts for this. You don't have to use vanilla extract. One of my favorite things to substitute this is orange blossom water. That one is really, really good.
We have a large Persian community here. Would rose water work as well?
Yes, definitely. That could be delicious. Now we are also going to need some cooking oil. Any kind of cooking oil. I usually just use canola oil because that's what I have on hand. That is 30 grams or 2.5 tablespoons. And we are also going to be needing some all-purpose flour. This is 260 grams or 2 cups plus 1 tablespoon. And finally, we're going to be needing some baking powder. This is 5 grams or 1 teaspoon. For later, we're also going to be needing some jam. I usually use peach or apricot jam. And then, of course, our grajeas or any kind of sprinkle that you can find. This will just give us a really nice crunchy texture on the top of our pastry. So,
Eliceo, if we don't have the apricot jellies, preserves, can we use something else?
yes, you can use almost any kind of jam. Just make sure it's not too chunky. And if it is chunky, you would have to sift it to get rid of the big chunks. And then I'm just gonna use some warm water to make it a little more runny. So I can use a pastry brush to cover my little cupcakes. Okay, perfect. So let's get started. First thing we will do is that we will preheat our ovens to 350 Fahrenheit. 350 Fahrenheit, that's 180 Celsius. I will do that myself now. Okay. There we go. And of course, what I'm gonna do first is that I'm going to be preparing my pan for baking. I'm gonna be using any a cupcake tin, any kind of cupcake tin, muffin tin can be used. Now, I usually do spray oil just because it's a little bit quicker, a little bit cleaner to work with it. You can also use butter, you can also use vegetable shortening, whatever you have in hand. And I'm simply gonna go kind of generously everywhere. I try not to breathe when I'm using this. Otherwise, you will inhale all of it.
It's a little toxic.
Yeah. Okay. And now we're gonna do a little flour everywhere. You have to make sure, since we're gonna bake this without a cupcake liner, we need to make sure that we cover this properly with flour.
So it's not in a cupcake paper holder. It's just more un pastelito, más vale then, right?
What's that, sorry?
Since you're not making the muffin in little muffin tin, little paper holders that we do here in the States. So this is more of like a pastel, like a baby cake then.
Exactly. Mm-hmm. Yeah. I want to make sure I'm covering all sides of my pan. This is a bit messy, but that's fine. Okay. And once you make sure everything is nicely covered in flour, I'm simply gonna get rid of the excess flour. And this is ready for our batter. I am going to get rid of the extra flour on the counter. Of course, you can use this for your batter. You don't have to throw that away. Please don't. You can, of course, use that later. Okay. And now we can properly start our batter. So I'm going to be using a stand mixer. You can use a stand mixer, you can use a hand mixer, whichever you have is available. We're going to start just with our butter and sugar. Just butter and sugar for now. It's very important also that the butter is at room temperature as well. And all the sugar goes in. Okay. So I'm gonna take it to my bowl now. And I'm going to start mixing. First, I'm gonna go in a very low speed, just to make sure I don't have sugar all over my counter. And then I'm going to increase the speed of this.
Eliceo, can you remind us again one more time, what is the measurement you use for sugar? And I have another question. What is it salted butter or unsalted butter?
Oh, that is unsalted butter. I usually use unsalted butter whenever I'm baking. This is because different brands have different amounts of salt. So I want to control the amount of salt in my recipes. That's the reason I usually use unsalted. I know in the States and Canada, it's very common to use salted butter. I think not as much here in Mexico. And
for the sugar?
Yeah, for the sugar, in a second, it's going to be 130 grams or 2/3 of a cup granulated sugar.
Gracias.
Of course. Okay. So now that my 3 ingredients have incorporated, I'm increasing the speed to a medium-high speed. What I want now is to incorporate a lot of air into this butter and sugar mixture. This is called the creaming method. Whenever you see a recipe that calls for mix until light and fluffy, most probably you will be using this technique, the creaming method. So this is gonna become a very pale yellow. So right now it's changing colors already from the like more intense yellow color that we had from the butter earlier. Now it's more kind of pale, and it's gonna become nice and fluffy, very light and very fluffy. So when we have that, this will be good to go, and then we can incorporate the rest of the ingredients. It's usually a couple minutes before this is ready for the eggs. We're gonna add the eggs after this.
Yeah, we had some late comment. Rachel Mejia, she's asking if you could be so kind one more time to list out the ingredients for us. She just happened to come in.
Yeah, of course. So here goes the complete list of ingredients for our little cake. We have 100 grams of butter at room temperature. That is 1 stick minus 1 tablespoon. Then we have 130 grams granulated sugar. That is 2/3 of a cup. Then we have 2 eggs plus 1 yolk at room temperature. Then we have 150 grams milk. That should be at room temperature as well. That is 2/3 of a cup. Then we have some vanilla extract, that's 7 grams or 2 teaspoons. Of course, that can be substituted for orange blossom water, even like different extracts. Almond extract is really good with this as well. Any kind of extract. I've even added, let's say, orange zest. You can definitely do that, and that's a delicious combo. Then we have 30 grams cooking oil, that's 2.5 tablespoons. We also have all-purpose flour, that's 260 grams or 2 cups plus 1 tablespoon. And finally, 5 grams or 1 teaspoon baking powder.
Okay. We have some saludos for you. Teresa Verduzco, all the way from Hawthorne, Los Angeles County, says hello. And also DG, she says, so excited.
Oh, hi. Denise, hi. Okay. Okay, there we go. So now I can tell my butter and sugar mixture is definitely ready. I can tell because I have a way more pale color. I have a very light yellow color now. And also this is light and fluffy. I'm going to show you now. If you were using a hand mixer, it would be exactly the same process. Let me show you how it looks. So as you can see, this is nice and creamy. It's very light. There we go. Okay. So now we can start adding our eggs. I just mixed in this little glass. I mixed my 2 eggs with my egg yolk. And I'm going to use a fork to really break the eggs because I want to add them gradually. I do know how eggs are. If I try to add just a little bit, like the entire thing will go in the bowl, and I want to go gradually. So I'm gonna really mix that with just with a fork to make sure I'm breaking the egg completely. And this way I can control the amount of egg that I'm pouring into my bowl.
While you're mixing your bowl, we have Rachel Mejia. She says, thank you. Yes, orange says, sounds good. Saludos from Sacramento. And then Mayari Hernandez Tamayo, you're the best, Eliceo Lara. Thank you for sharing your recipe with us.
Hola, hola Maya. Hola Maya. I think Maya is in Cuernavaca. And hello, Rachel. Okay. So now I think we can start now adding our eggs. As I said before, we're gonna add this gradually, otherwise the emulsion might break and we definitely don't want that. So I'm gonna add this in maybe 4 parts. I'm gonna go with the first one while this is in a low speed. And now I'm gonna increase the speed to make sure everything is completely incorporated. Once that has been incorporated, I'm gonna keep adding a little bit more. Okay, that's enough. It's very important to go gradually, otherwise, as I said before, the emulsion might break, and we definitely don't want that. Okay, I just added my second part of the egg. I'm increasing the speed now. As you can see now, most of my butter mixture is on the sides of my bowl. So I'm just gonna take my paddle attachment and bring that to the bottom of my bowl. Make sure you do this every so often. Everything is being incorporated properly. Okay, there we go. And now I'm gonna add a bit more eggs. Then mix again. Again, as soon as that is completely incorporated, I'm gonna lower the speed again. Finally, add the rest of my eggs. And again, increase the speed. Okay, there we go. As we add the egg, this is becoming a bit more liquid, a bit more runny. There we go. Now I have a nice soft, light batter. Now I'm going to start adding my milk. Again, it's very important that we add the milk, the vanilla extract, and the oil gradually. We don't want to add it all at once, because again, that might break the emulsion. So I'm gonna go little by little. In Spanish, we call this add the wet ingredients. We call this en forma de hilo, because it's gonna go down like a little thread, gradually, little by little. Now, this is very important that you make sure that your milk is at room temperature. If your milk is too cold, then that's gonna get the butter cold. And then if that happens, the butter will harden. And again, it will look as if it's curdled. It's not the end of the world. You can fix that just by heating the mixture a little bit. Maybe you can use a double boiler. You can use a blowtorch on the bowl if that happens to you. But it's better if you start with room temperature milk from the beginning of the process.
Eliceo, have you used this to soften your butter? Someone told me to get your stick of butter out, and then you get a tall glass, heat it up with hot water, and then you invert put the glass on top of the butter. And they say in like 10 minutes, your butter's going to get soft.
I read that somewhere online. I'm not quite sure if that works. I honestly haven't tried that, but it kind of makes sense, right? What I usually do if I need room temperature butter in a rush, I usually put it in the microwave, but like 30%. How do you call that? Like not full heat, but like 30% power, and then it will maybe in like a minute and a half, it will go to soft butter, room temperature butter.
I guess I need to figure out that calibration in my my oven, because I always overdo it. By the time I get there, it's already like blown up. It's already partially melted. Yeah, it always explodes inside the microwave. Gloria Lopez says, excited, try this con café.
Oh, there you go. Yes. Now you're talking. Okay. So I think I'm gonna add my oil now. As I said before, maybe my milk was not as room temperature as I thought. So this is looking as if it was curdling a little bit. I don't know if you can see that, but so that's a good example of how it looks if the milk is not as not as a room temperature as it looks. And I'm gonna show you, it looks a little like magic when you do this. I'm gonna use a blowtorch on my bowl. You can of course just use a double boiler if you don't have a blowtorch. This is just a bit quicker. There we go. You have to be very careful with this because you don't want to melt the butter either. So you want to go carefully with it. There's a lot of wind. Also, if you just let it mix for longer time it will be fixed. But I definitely want to show you how it just changes in 30 seconds or so.
Okay.
Okay.
Before you bring up the blowtorch, is Claudia
Okay.
Claudia Martin. She says, "Hi, Eliceo and Claudia. There is a echo in the audio."
Oh,
Huh.
really?
Saludos, love my gorditas and Garibaldis.
Oh, there you go.
Yes, and then
Gracias, Claudia. Hola.
and then let's see here.
Okay, so I'm using my blowtorch now. And you will see how it changes dramatically in just a few seconds.
Let's see. Mayari Hernandez Tamayo says, "I like softening butter by placing it on top of the black comal that comes with the stoves. It keeps butter texture fluffier than microwaving it."
Oh, there you go. That's a good idea. I've never thought that. Okay. And there we go. Our kind of curdled mixture was just fixed, just with a little bit of heat from the blowtorch. Again, if you don't have a blowtorch, you can simply use a double boiler really quickly. It's going to be a matter of seconds. And remember, you have to be careful because you don't want to melt the butter in there. Okay, there we go. So now we can add our dry ingredients. I'm going to be cleaning again the sides of the bowl with my paddle attachment. And now in this case, it's very important to sift your dry ingredients. So we're gonna sift both our flour and baking powder, because we're not gonna mix for a very long time after this. So we do want to get rid of those little clumps. You can use a sifter. I usually just use a strainer. There we go. And that's it. And now we're simply going to be mixing this for a few more seconds. Now we just want to mix until it's evenly incorporated and we don't have any lumps, any dry ingredients in there. And that's it. We want to stop right there. We don't want to mix any further than that. Okay, I just increased my speed a little bit. Just a few more seconds, just to make sure everything is evenly incorporated. And that's it. Okay. So I'm gonna finish this by hand using my paddle attachment, just to make sure I have dry ingredients on the sides of my bowl. And that's it.
So simple, but that sounds so delicious though. You have the butter,
yeah,
and vanilla, the flavors.
Yeah, you have all the good stuff in there. In Mexico, we call these spatulas miserables.
Miserables, porque miserables.
Yeah, because they don't leave anything behind. They just take everything with them. Okay. And now a little trick that I always do when I am making cupcakes or even cookies is that I usually use an ice cream scoop. This always works because it's gonna give you an even amount in every space. Because you know, sometimes you're making cupcakes and some of them are massive and some of them are just a little fatter. So this way they will all be the same weight technically. And also it's just like way cleaner. Alternatively, if you didn't have this, you can also use a piping bag and then fill this to, let's say, 2/3 of the capacity of each one of them. But this for me is way quicker and also way cleaner.
Yeah, I love my ice cream scooper. I use it to make meatballs, to make falafel, to make cookies. So, you know, and then when you do bake the cookies, it's all uniform. It's all the same size and proportions.
And yes, my OCD satisfied every single time.
Oh my God, it looks like ice cream.
Exactly. Also, they have so much air inside because we mixed for so long from the beginning of the process. It's nice and fluffy. And this is good for around a dozen Garibaldis, this amount of butter. There we go. So I'm simply going to be taking this to the oven. I usually just put it from here straight to the oven. Some people put them in the fridge. They say that they might raise a little bit more once you put them in there with the cold butter. In my experience, that's not the case, at least not with this recipe. So I just take this from here to the oven. So I'm gonna do that now. And they will be in there for, there we go. They will be there for anything from, let's say 14 up to 25, 30 minutes. I never give just one time because you know every oven is different, right? So if you have like a really quick electric convection oven, this will be around 14 minutes. Maybe it's going to be super quick. If you have a gas oven, which is my case, it usually takes around 25, even up to 28 minutes, depending in your oven. You're going to realize they are done when they look like this. So you will realize they're not sticking to the sides of the pan anymore. And also you have a nice lightly toasted color on top, and you will have a lot of color on the sides, just like this. Okay, and that means they are ready to go. I usually just wait until they are room temperature to take them out of the pan, just to make sure they come out in one piece.
Let's see, Rachel, she says, OMG, I can't wait to make these so far. It looks delicious. And we've got Mayari Hernandez Tamay says, Sor Juana will be so proud of you.
So Mayari was in the same college that I was, and we studied in Universidad del Claustro de Sor Juana, and it's a college that is in the building where Sor Juana was encloistered. She's like a very famous poet from the colony times in Mexico, and she was a very famous cook, of course.
I just picked up her book, La Cocina de Sor Juana.
Oh, there you go.
I just picked it up. I just finally got it. I have a Spanish version of it, but it took me forever to find it. And a girlfriend of mine found this a website that has Spanish language cookbooks. So she says, you got to order it. It's online. It's a used copy, but I'll take it.
Of course, yes, all the time. I like a good book with a history. Okay, so now all we have to do is cover them. So we're gonna use some jam. Again, make sure you don't have a really chunky jam. Because if it is, then you're not gonna have a nice clean finish on your Garibaldis. Today I'm using an apricot jam. It doesn't take a lot. Maybe just like that. And as you can see, it's a bit stiff. So I'm going to be adding a little bit of hot water. And that way I will be able to work with it a bit easier. There we go. It's just a little bit of water. Not a lot, because also you don't want it to be too runny. So just a little bit. And then I'm gonna mix.
For those who are watching us, no worries that the recipe will be sent out, either posted on Facebook, or for those who signed up via Zoom, we will have the recipe posted. Thank you.
Oh, there we go. Yeah, and it's actually a very simple recipe. I think someone commented it's very, very doable. You don't need a lot of ingredients. You can even make it with a hand mixer. If you have the time and you want to apply some elbow grease, you can even make it by hand. Everything. Don't need a lot of equipment. Okay, there we go. I think I like this texture. Not too thick, not too runny. There we go. And of course, we're also going to be needing our grajeas. There we go. Okay. So it's a very simple process. We're gonna put it upside down. Ooh, let me just have ready some cupcake liners. We usually serve them on cupcake liners. Also, it's a bit easier to hold them because it's necessary to hold them. Like that. So I'm gonna use a cupcake liner like this. Okay, so I'm gonna take it upside down, and then I'm gonna simply brush my jam on top. And there we go. And now we simply want to put all of it in there, and chochitos will be sticking to it. And there we go. We have our first little Garibaldi.
Oh my goodness. Now it makes sense why they're not baked in the cupcake wrapper. It's the other way around.
Exactly. We just add it at the end of the process.
Edith Rincon says, thank you. They look so pretty and delicious. And for those who are asking, Eliceo he used canola oil, right? Use canola oil, any soft oil that you have at home, non-flavored oil.
Yeah, exactly. I think the only one I wouldn't use is olive oil, just because it imparts a lot of flavor. But otherwise, you can use like all kinds of cooking oil that you regularly use. I think even melted coconut oil would work definitely. And you can use, of course, all kinds of sprinkles. Some people use nuts on top, like chopped pecans or walnuts. You can also do that. It's always better to have a lot of grajeas, a lot of sprinkles, because if you just have a little, you will be struggling to cover all your Garibaldis. And if you have a lot, it's going to be way easier. This is also a really good project to make with kids, because it's not a very difficult recipe. And also they're going to love this kind of messy working with the jam.
That's a great idea because once we open a La Cocina later this year, I plan on having multi-generational cooking classes, and baking is definitely be one of those. I think this would be great for a parent and child to work together and have something sweet.
Exactly. I'm looking forward so much to your reopening in La Plaza.
Well, we're actually open. We had a soft opening last Thursday, but this Thursday we're officially open to the public. All we ask is for folks to go on our website and make a reservation. We'll be open from 12 to 4. We'll be there Thursday through Sunday. And now slowly as the county opens, we are planning to do some outdoor public programs, some concerts, some movies later in the summer. Of course, according to all the guidelines for COVID. And we're also be celebrating our 10-year anniversary this year. So please sign up for our newsletter, go on our website for more up and coming projects for public programs, but also for the end of the year. September forward, más o menos, we're going to open up La Cocina, where we're going to have hands-on in-person cooking classes.
Oh, nice. Finally, it's so exciting. It's been a while, right?
It's been a while. Yeah, the La Cocina's been in the works for quite a bit, but now it's building out as we speak. Claudia Martins asked, do you know a good brand of sprinkles, chochitos? Most taste very bad. Claudia.
Oh, I have no idea in the US. But I think in the US, what you have available is like the big ones. As you can see, these ones that I have, I would look for these ones, and I'm thinking you could get them at, I don't know, like Mexican supermarkets, but it's a very small,
like little beads. They're like little beads, exactly. Yeah. Yeah, here in Los Angeles, you can find that. I know, like Surface on Washington, they have excellent baking for everything culinary, restaurant, and they do have a variety of sprinkles and little balls, colored ones, shapes, snowflakes. So I would check out Surface or check out a local, gosh, where else I know, or maybe go online to see. But obviously I'll go to your local markets, the Mexican markets, see if they have special little white ones.
Oh, there you go. Yeah, because I don't like them when they're like the big sprinkles. You know, like the ones they put on cake sometimes that is like big,
like metal, they're like metal, like they're, yeah, no, those are nice and small.
Yeah.
Someone is asking about the website where I get my Spanish language, and I'm trying to find that real quick. I can't find it right now, but I will definitely send it to Abelardo to post later, because Spanish language books are quite difficult to find, especially in the United States for cookbooks. But you'll be amazed at Amazon, or also do a deep search with the title of the book. And you'll find, I've actually ordered some books from Spain to come down this way that have been Mexican books, but somehow they ended up in Spain, and I find their way back. They're usually used half the time.
Yeah, I think they could also check the Amazon Mexican site, because there's like a big selection also, and I think they do send to the US, so that's a good option as well.
Bueno, those look absolutely delicious. So quick question. So once you make those, how long, besides us all gallbutting, eating all up by the end of the day, if you were to bake them, how long do they stay out?
So usually pan dulce, is meant to be served within 24 hours, usually. And that is the case for this. As all kinds of bread, I usually suggest that you have it in a closed container at room temperature. A lot of people put bread in the fridge, and that will just make your bread stale very quickly. So make sure to keep it at room temperature in a closed container, and it will be okay for maybe like a day or two. Tomorrow morning, it will be still really good with your coffee in the morning.
Absolutely. Eliceo, muchísimas gracias. Thank you so much for sharing all your secrets and beautiful Mexican recipes for the Garibaldis y más. And I learned a new word today, grajeas.
Gracias.
Gracias. Okay, great. Bueno, en todo caso, muchísimas gracias. Thank you so much. I look forward to working with you more later in the year. Y ahorita le paso a mi compañero, Abelardo, para el cafecito de mañana, right?
Eliceo, if you could do us a favor, if you could hold up
Yeah.
Garibaldis in front of you so we could see the marvelous concoction you created today. They look so good. And turn on or unmute your computer and then speak so we could see it.
Of course.
All these little technical things that we're learning to master a little at a time. A year later, of course, but we're here. All right, if you could unmute your computer.
There you go.
There you go.
There you go.
Hold up the Garibaldis. Okay, and tell us what they are.
Yes, Garibaldis, Mexican pan dulce. One of our favorites actually in Mexico, I think.
Well, thank you so much, Eliceo. That was beautiful. Jimena, great questions. Thank you so much, Gloria Lopez, for joining us. Ivana Wheel on Facebook. We had of Mayari Hernandez Tamayo of your former classmate with some great questions and some great comments and some tips for all of us, including you. Ana Vasquez. Thank you to everybody that joined us this afternoon. If you came in late or if you'd like to see it again, we'll be posting the video on our YouTube page at La Plaza LA, YouTube at La Plaza LA, and you'll be able to see all of En Casa con La Plaza Cocinas. We have a playlist that you could just check out all the Monday happenings here on En Casa con La Plaza. More than 40, almost 50. Can you believe it? Incredible. But we are here, and we will be back next week with, let me get the schedule here. Next Monday, we have Esquite in a Cup and on the Cob with Chef Ricardo Pablo Vega from Moderno Cocina, who will be joining us again. The week after, Albóndigas with Chef Ivan Vasquez from Madre. And then rounding out, coming up in May, we're almost there, Taco Campesino with Emiliano Marantes from Elemi from El Paso. So, like I said, we're national and international here at En Casa con La Plaza Cocina. So as Jimena was saying, yes, La Plaza de Cultura y Artes is reopening. We started off with inviting our members to join us over the weekend, and we will be starting this Thursday to the public, but you have to go to our website, lapca.org, to make your reservation. It's a very simple process, accessible by your computer, your laptop, your pad, or your phone. And if you happen to be at En Casa con La Plaza, at La Plaza de Cultura y Artes, and between 12 and 4, Thursday through Sunday, walk on in. They might have walk-ins during the day. So please give us a try. But go to our website, lapca.org, to make your reservation. Thank you again, Eliceo. Nos vemos muy pronto again, I'm sure.
Gracias. Thank you very much.
We'll see you soon. And gracias a todos, our sponsors, Kaiser Permanente and PepsiCo, and all of you for joining us on today's En Casa con La Plaza. Hasta la próxima. Bye.
Bye, guys.
Bye.
Gracias.
Gracias.